What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is Morgan. Morgan is a sci-fi thriller film directed by Luke Scott that primarily follows Lee Weathers, a corporate risk management consultant played by Kate Mara, who is sent to assess the viability of a company asset. That asset being Morgan, a scientifically engineered being that possesses abilities and intelligence that far surpass human capabilities. While Morgan is exceptional, she is also prone to the occasional violent outbursts, which is why Lee Weathers is sent to assess her overall viability as a company asset in the first place. Once Lee arrives at the facility to assess Morgan, she meets the scientists and the personnel who oversee Morgan's development, as well as Morgan herself, which doesn't end well after Morgan is eventually provoked to her breaking point. Once Morgan escapes from her cell, things get very scary for everyone at the facility very quickly, as Morgan seeks revenge as she finds herself consumed by confusion and rage. The rest of the film is spent with Lee Weathers and the various company employees as they attempt to find Morgan and return her to her cell, all the while hoping she doesn't find them first and kill them. So this film currently sits at a 43% among critics and a 36% among audience members, and I'm not sure what the deal is because this is like the third or fourth movie this summer that I think is much better than the reviews that are currently out there are telling you it is. Do I think this is a great movie? No, but it's not a terrible movie either. Where I could see people having a problem with this film is that it's not really at all like what it was advertised as. The trailers made it look like this balls to the wall horror film, and it's not really that at all. There are plenty of suspenseful scenes in this movie, but there's not much that's actually scary about it. If you plan on going to see this film, I don't want you to go in with the wrong expectations. Don't expect to be scared through standard horror. There's very little, if anything, about this movie that will scare you. What this film does well is drama and the progression and build-up of a unique sci-fi story that's a breath of fresh air in a time where there are a ton of reboots and remakes being delivered to us moviegoers. I love remakes as much as the next guy as long as they're done at a high level, but it's also nice to see a story unfold on screen that's creative and new, and this film offers that at mostly a high level. The first two acts of this film introduce you to the characters at play and the setting, which is the company facility where the vast majority of this story takes place. There's a ton of really interesting and meaningful interactions that take place in the first hour or so with very unique and clearly identifiable characters that are all really interesting and really well acted. Kate Mara did a great job in this film, and I gotta be honest, she surprised me in this one because I haven't really seen her in much besides Fantastic Four, and we all know how that turned out. Not her fault, but still. Her character Lee Weathers is very cold and calculating, and the way she interacts with the other characters is extremely professional, yet off-putting at the same time. Her character is strong, capable, yet very serious. I thought Kate Mara really shined in this movie. Morgan was played by Anya Taylor-Joy, and I kid you not, she was incredible in this movie. An important thing to remember is that her character is only 5 years old. She looks older because she's a scientifically engineered being with advanced traits and abilities. So like any 5-year-old, she experiences outbursts, but with her abilities being so advanced, she can do much more damage under these moments of stress than a typical 5-year-old would be able to. She showed a ton of different emotions brilliantly on screen, and I have a feeling we'll be hearing a lot more from Anya Taylor-Joy in the near future. This film has a really good cast full of very talented actors that all did a very nice job in this film, but 3 characters I think you should know about specifically are Amy Menser, played by Rose Leslie, who you may know from her work on Game of Thrones, Boyd Holbrook as Skip, who you may know from his work on Narcos, and Toby Jones as Dr. Simon Ziegler, who's been in a ton of supporting roles in various films. These 3 actors also shined very bright in what as a whole was a very well acted film. Okay, so here's where this film struggles. Sometimes it doesn't know what it wants to be. I knew absolutely nothing about this film's production coming in, and I remember thinking to myself while watching it that it reminded me a lot of Prometheus in terms of the way it's shot, the lighting, and the overall feel of the character interactions. And little did I know, this film was produced by Ridley Scott, director of Prometheus, and directed by his son, Luke Scott. I bring this up because a significant portion of this film, as I mentioned, has a Prometheus feel to it, albeit not about aliens. But most of the last act, and particularly the climax, it becomes this weird like action movie with choreographed hand-to-hand combat karate scenes that are awkward and not particularly well executed. The editing in these action scenes, and really in a lot of scenes throughout this movie, is pretty choppy and awkward. There's weird jump cuts and continuity errors, and odd use of shaky cam during fight scenes, and so on that just don't really fit very well in this style of film. Because like I said, this is primarily a sci-fi film, and this film does sci-fi really well, but it does action pretty poorly. I did think the overall cinematography of this film was really good though. This is a very nice film to look at most of the time. From a technical standpoint, the composition and lighting and environments were all really nice. There's also an M. Night Shyamalan style twist at the end of this film that I really enjoyed, but I do think some people will be a little annoyed by it. I personally did not see it coming at all, and I like like that. It surprised me and still left me satisfied. Some will hate it though because it's not at all the type of ending you'd expect, so just a heads up. If I had to predict why this film is getting such poor reviews, I'd say one big reason could be that in some very key moments in this story, the film would deliver you a somewhat odd or anticlimactic result. There's this constant build up to these key moments, then the ultimate delivery will be something where you'll be like, that wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Every film has certain key moments that it should deliver on consistently in order to satisfy you as the viewer, and this film delivers results that are at times inconsistent. Overall though, I thought this film had some great acting and great characters, a very dramatic and unique story, very good cinematography, and strong dialogue. Sadly, I also felt the film sometimes struggles with its identity, it fails to deliver in some key moments, and the editing was poor. I'm gonna give this film a 7.5 out of 10 and recommend that you go see this one in theaters if you're looking for a unique sci-fi thriller film. So did you guys see Morgan yet? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether you'd be interested in watching this film or not. And as always, if you like this video, click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for much more content like this. That's all for now. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.